Well, hi there, and welcome to A Seat With Me podcast. Brand new episode. I hope you're doing well. My name is Solène, and I am your host. And today we have a fantastic episode because we got an email. I got an email. I never thought that anyone would actually write me. I do give the email of the show in every episode, but I never truly believed that anyone would write me. Actually, I wrote that email super late because of Gmail paranoia and security system. I've been locked out of that email, and because I never thought that anyone would write me, I was like, I'm gonna fix it someday, right? And then I got it, and I see this beautiful email from Marie, because she's also French, and she wrote me an email, and she shares her experience. I'm not gonna read it in full because she shares her life, and I think that her privacy is our privacy, right? But it gives me the perfect opportunity to talk about prioritizing ourselves. And how do we prioritize ourselves? When do you know it's time for you to prioritize yourself, etc., right? So yeah, she wrote me an email now a few weeks ago. Days, weeks, I don't know. What is time, right? And she shares her experience as growing up. She grew up in France, but now she lives between France and the United States of Americas. And I could relate so much about her story, right? Like, she's also in her late 20s. She grew up to be conditioned as a people pleaser, aren't we all? And as a result, being emotionally drained by the fact that you need to please everyone. Right? She also lived a childhood of doing the right thing, quote unquote. You know, when you do what you're supposed to do, you're good in school, you study, you have a few friends, maybe you travel, but you do the right thing. You do what you're supposed to do, what your parents, what family, and what society is supposed to. You never really, how can I say that? You never stray away from the path that has been built for you. You can be described as this quiet, nice little girl, just doing the right thing, right? And that was my childhood. And also in her email, she talks about being creative at a very young age and kind of disconnecting from that, which it's so surprising for me, the amount of women and woman X people that I meet who, as a child, we expressed some kind of creative side. For her, if I remember correctly, it was drawing, pottery. She gave me other examples, but we all have a creative side. We all have those creative outlets when we were kids, but at some point, we let all of that go. She said that for her, it was, at first, she really thought that she would have a creative career. For her, it was clear, like, I'm going to be creative, right? But I think her family, something about her family was like, do something that will pay you the bills, right? Like, our parents, they really grew up with that imagination of the starving artist. But I wonder why and at what point that occurs, that we are young, gifted, creative little souls, and at some point we just completely let that go. We just completely and utterly let it go. Yeah, there you go. I found her. Drawing, painting, pottery, and dance. First of all, pottery, girl, you better go for that. But there's a disconnect that happened. Me too. I loved performing arts, I love theater, I love dancing, I love dressing up, all this stuff. But then for some reason I end up studying international relations and international rights, which I loved, but I spent my whole adult and teenager life believing and even saying that I'm not an artist, I'm not creative, when I grew up being creative. My mom is creative, my mom is an artist, my grandmother is an artist, like every Caribbean person is an artist. But you know what I mean? Why do we disconnect so much from that part of ourselves? At what point that arrives? And why is society so focused on taking that away from us, right? Because you're gonna go into something that pays well, or into something that has a good reputation. You're not gonna study drawing, you're gonna study law, or something that you think will make you happy, instead of doing what feels like happiness. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could relate so much. And also something that was interesting, because she's also in her late 20s, there is a moment, right, past 25, we have this, either we realize it or not, but we have this reckoning in mid-late 20s where we're like, oh my god, wait, I think I'm disconnected to myself. Like, I talked about that in my last episode, or the episode before that, addicted to hating ourselves, right? Those flashes of truth. And I feel like it happens a lot for women and women X. We have those flashes of truth in our late 20s, early 30s, where we're like, wait, something's up. I'm not happy. Whether we acknowledge that to ourselves, whether we say it out loud or not, but we're like, wait, I'm not happy. I'm disconnected to myself. I'm caught in this hamster wheel, and I hate it here. Like, I have this job that I kind of like, yes, maybe, but it does not make me truly happy or fulfilled. And there's this thing that happens in our late 20s when when we have the luxury of being able to stop a little bit or slow down a little bit, or when we are in a routine, we're like, wait. And that's, she was expressing that in her email, saying that she's also on a path of self-discovery, new self-discovery, or self-exploration. Does that make sense? Where now she's questioning her past and her childhood and her decisions. And it's like, it's basically my year. It's basically 2024 for me, and the last, I'd say, year or two of my life, where I was like, slow down. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. Like, I'm okay with my life. I had a cool job. I had cool people in my life. I was not lacking food or clothes or anything. I was good. My parents were there. Like, things were okay. But I was like, hold up. I've worked hard to get where I'm at, but is where I'm at where I want to be? And a lot of us, it's happening for a lot of us. First, your early 20s is just being lost and making decision, kind of like either overthinking every single decision in order to make the right decision, quote unquote, or just making just random decision on a whim. That's your early 20s. And then your late 20s, like, hold up, let me pause. What am I doing? Where am I going? And you finally have the audacity and the courage to look back. Also, you have something to look back. Like, your early 20s, you're still a baby. There's nothing to look back at, quote unquote. But in your late 20s, you're like, wait, what's going on? So I love that she was so transparent and so honest about that. And just like me this year, she was like, I don't know where to start, or I don't know how to address that feeling of reconnecting with my childhood, with myself, right? And she had a couple of questions, which I'm going to read. I translated it because the email was in French, and it's the questions that we're going to address today, my dear. Okay, so her questions, plural? Yeah, we're going to say plural. How did you realize that you needed to take care of yourself? What are your little rituals? How your mental health has evolved since you started prioritizing yourself? And this is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Prioritizing yourself, question mark. How does that happen? Why do you need to prioritize yourself? Are you prioritizing yourself? How do you even do that? Why should you prioritize yourself? The first thing though that we need to address, and I got my notes as you can see, prioritizing yourself, baby girl, is not selfish. You need to write it down. You need to remember that prioritizing yourself, it is not a selfish act. Because again, as woman X, we are conditioned to be people pleaser. Like I said, we are conditioned to putting other people's feeling before our own, which leads us to be emotionally, sometimes physically or financially drained. She shared also an experience that she had, like that Mary from the email I was about to say. But it is not selfish. That you need to know that. You need to remember that you're not being selfish if you decide one day, okay, it's going to be me first. Because chances are you spend a long time, you spend years, probably decades of not putting yourself first. And it is also not about isolating yourself. It's not about pushing everyone away and cutting everyone off from your life. Prioritizing yourself does not mean you're gonna live alone, to live alone in a freaking cabin. Well, I mean, you can do that for a few days. But the goal of this life, of this humanity, is also to live in community, right? It's about finding the right or creating the right community for you. But prioritizing yourself is not selfish. I'm going to repeat that. And it is not about isolating yourself. It's not about not talking to anyone ever again. Because actually I was thinking about her questions over and over again, and how can I answer them correctly. And actually prioritizing yourself helps you connect with other people better. Because when you love yourself better, you love other people better, and you love other people more. Since I'm this year on this journey of really prioritizing myself, I have such a love for people, which is new for me. I mean, I love people, but now I deeply care about people because I have more love for myself. When you have more love for yourself, it does not mean that you have less love for other people. It actually multiplies the love that you have for the world and for other people, and more empathy, etc., etc. That's why you need to prioritize yourself, for the multiplication of love that will occur when you will start loving and prioritizing yourself. Because you will learn how to love yourself, you will love yourself more, you will be more comfortable with yourself, and therefore that will impact your relationship with others. That's why sometimes being a people pleaser is draining, because you raise yourself, you drain yourself, and you give to people, and you give and you give and you give from an empty cup. You're the empty cup in that scenario, baby girl, but you cannot give from an empty cup, from an empty bottle. You need to refill your bottle. You need to care about your little cup, care about yourself, so you can give better. Prioritizing myself makes me a better daughter, a better friend, a better granddaughter, a better everything, a better person. I see my relationship to my family, to my parents being better than it has ever been since I decided to take on that path. Think about masks, those masks in plane, like those oxygen masks. You have to put your mask first before putting mask on anyone else, baby girl. That's what prioritizing yourself means. It does not mean that you will stop caring about people. And I assure you, once you will start caring about yourself deeply, you will be so inclined and so open to caring for the world. I swear, I discover myself being social, going to social event. I volunteer. There's this African Books Festival that happens at the end of June, and I found myself volunteering for it. I saw the flyer, and then I went on their website, and they were asking for volunteer, and I was like, yeah, sure, which is something that I would have never done. I found myself communicating more and more with my family, with my parents. Think about the thing of oxygen mask in a cabin. You need to put your oxygen mask first, particularly if you're a woman. We've been trained to do that. It's okay, I mean, it's okay. Don't blame yourself for not prioritizing yourself for years. You've been trained by society to do that. But put your mask on first, and then give me the mask. And I'm pretty sure that you know how to do that, because I'm pretty sure that you've taken care of other people. Whether it is, physical care, emotional care, financial care, you are able to prioritize people. You are able to take care of people. So do it for yourself. Apply the same strength, apply the same I don't know the word, love, you know, that you have for other, direct it towards yourself. And remember, it is not selfish. That's how you love better. That's how you care better. That's how you evolve better in community, right? It's not about isolating yourself. Maybe it's about finding the right community. And then it's, you know, one of her questions was, what are my rituals? First of all, that take a long time. It takes a long time to figure out your rituals, but the question basically is, how do you do that? What everything that I'm saying is cute, prioritize yourself, blah, 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 blah. But how does one do that? Well, first of all, the simple fact that you're asking that question is fantastic. It means that you know that something is maybe a little off. You are willing to acknowledge that you have not been prioritizing yourself for years, and you feel the truth within your gut. Like, the simple fact that you ask, how can I prioritize myself, means that you know you haven't, and that's great, because your brain is fantastic. Your brain looks, first of all, your brain wants to protect you, but your brain is always looking for answers, sorry. So when you ask the question of how can I prioritize myself, your brain will automatically come up with some answers, or look for some answers in your immediate environment, in your memory. Like, the simple fact that you're asking this kind of question is amazing for you, for your brain, right? And I assure you that you know better than you think you do. You know yourself better, and you know what will work for you. You know what you need. It's just maybe you're scared of listening to it. You're scared that it means that you will need to cut people off, that you will need to prioritize yourself. But you know better. And I assure you, like, is there things that you've always wanted to try when it comes to taking care of yourself? Is there things that you have a feeling that they could help you? Working out, writing, meditating. For me, it was meditation. I always had a sense that before my meditation years, I was always attracted to it in some way. I always thought it would have been good for me. Now, it took me years to get to the practice of meditation that I am now. Now I meditate every single day. It took me years, okay? Another practice was writing, but that did not work for me because my brain goes too fast. Like, it's boring for me it's frustrating for me to write by hand because my brain goes too fast. So I do video journal, for example, where every day or every other day, I just talk to my computer for a few minutes. It's like my therapy session before I finally find a therapist here in Berlin that talks 2 or 3 languages, so he or she or they can understand me. But it's not the question of today. But I'm pretty sure that you already have some kind of ideas of what could work for you. You're just maybe a little scared to acknowledge it, because you're fundamentally scared that it means being selfish, when it is not. And also, it does not have to cost you anything. In this economy, we love free things. What's great with self-care is that a lot of it can be free. Writing, talking to yourself, talking to your camera, meditation, going for a walk if you live in a walkable city. Listen to yourself. Connect to yourself. Ask yourself, how can I prioritize myself? See what comes up immediately, and have the audacity and the courage to act on that. I assure you. Also, yes, I have it in my habit tracker. Get a habit tracker. I'm not going to explain. No, I'm going to explain further, actually. Get a habit tracker, baby girl. To prioritize yourself, you need to commit to the path. Get a habit tracker, put 3 to 4 things that you want to do every single day, and do it. That's something that changed the game for me. And when it comes to my personal ritual, yeah, I'd say meditation. I meditate every day. I force girl, it's not easy, but I meditate 20 hours, my God, 20 minutes. Once or twice a day. I try to do twice. I do video journals, like I said. I go on walks. And that's the thing, right? The more you prioritize yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you discover yourself. I love going on walks, baby girl. I would have never thought. I would have never thought. Who would have thought? Not me. A few days ago, I went to the park and ate my lunch with my book. What? Who am I? And I loved it. And I loved the fact that I had that impulse, the simple impulse of being like, you know what? I can eat my lunch outside today. It's a beautiful day. I went out, I bought a salad and a few, like a donut or something. I went in the park. I love the fact that my brain had that impulse and that mechanism. But you need to allow yourself to listen to yourself. You need to allow yourself to connect to that part of yourself who wants you want to take care of yourself. Do that. Okay? Now we're going to take a little break because I came a little bit hard at you, baby girl, but I have a few things to share with you. First of all, the book of the month. So the book of the month is Hood Feminism by MIKKI KENDALL, which has been on my TBR for a while. A potent and electrifying critique of today's feminist movement. I think it's been a while that this has been published, right? It's been a few years. Couldn't find the date, but that's the book of the month. I have not started it yet. I'm going to be honest with you, but I think it's a very important read. I have not started it because I went to the library and this book was available. A Little Life by HANYA YANAGIHARA. I'm probably saying that wrong. If you've been on TikTok, on the book talk side of TikTok, you've probably seen that book. It is apparently excruciating, and I just saw it and I was like, I need to take it, because the last time, I'm pretty sure that it was not available because the last time I didn't see it. So it's not really the book of the month, but I was just too excited to read it. I read also another book, Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. This crushed my soul, and I hate the fact that I read it just before, because it is a beautiful but also soul-crushing story, and I hate the fact that I read that and now I'm reading A Little Life. I am not going to have a nice month mentally with these two books, but anyway, that's what I'm reading at the moment. But then Hood Feminism from MIKKI KENDALL, and you can find all the books of the month, and I created like a little bookshelf, like a little library on aseatwithme.com. If you have any suggestions or anything, just email me, of course, girl. But yeah, aseatwithme.com, you'll see the books that I'm currently reading and the books of the month. Yeah, what else do I have for you? Let me check my notes. My fave of the month. Girl, I am in my body oils era. I don't have them with me. They're perched over there. I'm not going to get up. But I am in my body oils. Of course, I've been influenced. This app is running my life, is running my bank account. Body oils, I bought 3.5 body oils. And I am bathing in body oils every single time I'm going outside. One thing this summer, I will glow. I will glow. In other news, here's some random news about me. I left all the WhatsApp groups. And you know why it relates to what we're talking right now about prioritizing yourself? Because I realized that I was staying in those groups because I was scared of offending people. What? I was scared of bothering people and looking like I am mean. We're talking about leaving a WhatsApp group that has not been, some of these groups have been inactive for like years. I'm talking since like 2019. But I was like, oh no, I don't want, because sometimes they get a notification of like, yada, left the group. I was like, oh no, I don't want them to think that whatever, what? But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. There's no point of me staying in a group that I don't care. Like, it's just, leave the group. So I left, I'd say 80 to 90% of my WhatsApp group. Also, in my last episode, I talked about going on a date. That person asked me on the second date and I said no. And I'm proud of myself because why? I'm prioritizing my feelings and myself over his feelings, because to be fair, like, the first date was cute, the first date was nice. I could have gone on a second date, but I just didn't feel like, I was on a fence because nothing bad happened. It was nice, etc., etc. But in the spirit of prioritizing myself, in the spirit of listening to myself, I was like, do I truly want to go out on a second date with that person? No. Then say no. Yes, he's nice. Yes, he's asking you. But you don't have to say yes to make him happy. You don't want to go. Don't go. And I know it sounds very trivial and stupid, but for me, it was a thing. For me, I was like, I'm happy, Solène, that you listen to your feelings, to your gut, and that you're prioritizing yourself. That's another way of prioritizing yourself, by the way. Saying no to things, saying no to people, saying yes to leaving all the WhatsApp groups, saying no to going on a second date that it wouldn't be the worst thing, but also you don't really want to go. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I'm happy about that. And last thing, before we go back to our topic, I am pitching myself to brands, and this is scary to me. I do love posting on TikTok. At first, it was very much a way for me to be less alone. I just moved to Berlin, and I was like, you know what? Let me talk to myself on my phone and post it. Then I became really invested, and then I met amazing people who are now writing me emails, and people, you know, like-minded people who were interested in what I have to say, which is crazy. And now I want to pitch myself to brands, and it's a new challenge, and I'm doing it with a media kit and all. I'm terrified, but we're doing it. 2024 is about challenging ourselves, changing, becoming who we want to be, reconnecting to ourselves. And speaking of which, of reconnecting to yourself, let me get to my last page of notes. As I was thinking about her email, as I was reading it and rereading it, I had the thought that prioritizing yourself, it's actually going back to your inner self, reconnecting to your inner self. Because again, something that I related to in her email is the fact that me and her are trying right now to reconnect to our older self. She was talking about drawing and painting and pottery and dance, etc. It's the same thing that I'm trying to do, and that is a way of prioritizing yourself, to go back to the things that made you happy once upon a time. That's also a way of prioritizing yourself, to listen to that inner voice, to that inner teacher. And it sounds so woo-woo to say that. I know, I can hear myself. My skeptical self is like, what are you talking about? But I swear that you need to tune in your old self or your deeper self. I'm not fluent in that area of spirituality, but have the audacity to care for yourself out loud, please. Do more for yourself, because I know that I'm talking to a majority of women and woman X. I know that you're not doing enough for yourself, baby girl. I know for a fact that you are still prioritizing people, and I'm asking you to have the courage and the audacity to care for yourself. It's not selfish, like I said. It's just dare to care for yourself boldly, out loud. Prioritize yourself. Listen to the things that you want to do, and trust your intuition, trust your gut. I know you've been doing it for other people. Do it for you. It takes courage. I know. It takes patience. But prioritizing yourself is the solution to love other people more, to love other people better. Like I said, you will not care for the world if you do not care about you. How do you know how to love the world if you don't know how to love yourself? Loving yourself, because, I have this metaphor of every single one of us. We're like a biodome. We are a little universe, little environment, little jungle. You need to learn how to care and how to explore that little jungle of you, that little jungle that you are, so you can better care for other people. I swear. And things within you, things around you start to change, start to unfold. Your life becomes beautiful because you love yourself more, because you care about yourself more, because you listen to yourself more. It may rub people the wrong way. Who cares? That means that you will find the right people in the right time. Yes, some people may be mad that you are prioritizing yourself, but again, it's not personal. It's not necessarily against you. It's sometimes it means that they see in you something that they cannot do for themselves. Therefore, they're mad at you that you have the courage and the audacity to take care of you. How dare you taking care of yourself when they can't? So either disregard or have empathy for them and be like, you know what? It's okay. So yeah, I've been talking for a long time. I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much, Mary, for your email. It's a beautiful email. I hope we're going to stay in touch. I'm so sorry for the delay in the answer. Promise it won't happen again. Write me, you or anyone else. aseatwithmepodcast.com. Prioritize yourself. Yes, it is important. The simple fact that you ask that question to yourself means that you know you have to prioritize yourself. That it means that you know you have to do it. I'm pretty sure that you already have some incline when it comes to the rituals. I'm pretty sure that you already know what you're supposed to do, girl. You already know what you're supposed to do. Dive into those things: pottery, dance, painting. You don't have to pay for it. Doing in your living room, dance in your living room, paint. Paint on a piece of paper, on a random piece of paper. At first, it does not have to be expensive. Yeah. I hope you're doing fine on your corner of the world. I know where you live. I'm not going to say where, but I hope you're doing fine there, and that your situation also is fine. Thank you so much for writing me. Thank you for anyone who listened to that episode. I can't wait to hear from you. Oh, and there's the thing that I'm supposed to say. Follow, subscribe, rate, give me 5-star on your streaming platform, or like this video, the usual. You already know. But before you do that, I need you to make me a promise that this month, this week, this year, you are going to learn how to prioritize yourself. All right? I love you dearly, and I see you next week. Bisous, bye.